Buckeyes, Bobcats, buzzing. What a Saturday in September here at the Horseshoe. Prime time, and campus is clearly fired up for Ohio State and Ohio, the final non-conference game for Ryan Day's program. These are the Pregame Keys. He is Jeremy Birmingham. I am Austin Ward.
What a day.
I mean, what more can you ask for out in that tailgate scene?
It's a little bit more than I anticipated for Ohio State and Ohio, but then you realize a lot of these people are from one family, people sharing, loyalties to the Bobcats and the Buckeyes, and people from Ohio just love to get together and drink beer and watch football. So it's a good idea to do that on a day like today because it's beautiful out. Might be a little rain pregame, but other than that, it's going to be a perfect night for the ball.
Well, we've got Brim Cantori firing it up for us with the
it's
forecast.
a little bit, it's a little ominous at the moment, but it doesn't matter. Game doesn't start till 7. It's on Peacock. For those of you watching this, trying to figure out where you're watching the game tonight, if you haven't got Peacock by now, you have about 2 hours and 30 minutes to get it.
From this exact moment. Very, very accurate. And when the Buckeyes take the field, they will be without one rotational piece, a key rotational piece there in Bennett Christian, Ohio State tight end, out with an undisclosed injury. We saw him, Birm, walking off the field on Wednesday. He looked all right.
Yeah.
Didn't look like there was anything major going on. Looked like he had practiced. And I guess the understanding that we have right now is that if this had been maybe Washington in 2 weeks and the situation was the same, that Bennett Christian would play. But a little bit of an abundance of caution there, the Buckeyes using there at tight end. So strengthens the maybe workload there for Max Clare and Will Kazmarek, and we'll see what that might mean for Jelani Thurman and Nate Roberts as well, because Ohio State continuing to emphasize using 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, sometimes 4 tight ends throughout the game, but Bennett Christian won't be part of that.
I don't know if it means anything, which guy's the 3rd tight end or the 4th tight end, but I fully expect that today will be the largest workload of the season for Nate Roberts, who had almost 25 snaps a week ago against Grambling State. So certainly going to continue to see him have an uptick in the number of plays he's out on the field. We'll see what it means for Jelani Thurman, but I bet Nate Roberts will see a significant uptick in his opportunity, because he, like Bennett Christian, is a guy that is able and willing to be pretty physical as a blocker. Jelani's gotten better at that. I'm still not sure that's like his cup of tea or bread and butter. So we'll see what it means. Big picture, shouldn't impact much for Julian Saint or the Ohio State offense, but Bennett Christian is one of the leaders of this team for sure. Yeah, the rest of that availability report looks pretty much the same as it has for Ohio State through the first 2 weeks, carrying over again with Jason Moore being out. Still got a little bit of a limp going on. Haven't seen him in that walking boot, but not eligible to get out there, not available to go play. Shouldn't say eligible. He's not healthy enough to go play for Ohio State against Ohio. Same for Turbo Rogers, that freshman running back that folks have been wanting to see if maybe he could help on special teams. It looks like that's going to continue to linger for him as well. Deshaun Stewart, Max Roy, those guys have been everyone who you've seen for the first couple weeks also on there. Logan George was not mentioned against Texas or Grambling, but did not play. Right. Ryan Day indicated that the transfer from Idaho State would be able to go out there and play and maybe supplement what the Buckeyes have been doing up front. Yeah, this seems like the introduction to Logan George for the majority of Ohio State fans who didn't see him at the spring game. We'll see what it means. I don't know ultimately that it will impact much. I think he's probably still 3rd in the rotation as far as the defense, the weak side defensive end stuff where Caden Curry and then CJ Hicks are. I think that Logan George would be 3rd there. The question is whether or not he's a guy that they're actually going to move inside and let him do some stuff as a 3-tech. So that's what I think his strength would be. That's where his best attributes are. The guy has an opportunity to make sure that his strength and his hands and that kind of stuff are where he gets his makes his money. So we'll see what he does. Yeah, the opportunity certainly will be there for Logan George against Ohio. The Buckeyes want to see what he can do. I think probably on the interior, that 3-tech spot for him is the most likely spot where he can contribute in the short term. But we'll see if that's what Larry Johnson and Matt Patricia scheme up for him. They're going to want to know what he can do before Ohio State gets into that Big Ten schedule in 2 weeks against Washington. But this is it. This is that last chance to really go through some of the warm-up activities and to experiment, because you're not going to try and do that in Seattle in a couple of weeks. And Ohio's got that win a week ago over West Virginia in their back pocket. They feel pretty good. They pushed Rutgers, into that deep into the second half. So this is a real one. I mean, they're still comfortable 4 touchdown favorites plus 4 touchdown plus favorites. Ohio State is in this one, but it's not like last week where I feel like you just get to go out there and do whatever you want. So you do maybe have to pick what you're going to emphasize if you're Ryan Day here. It's kind of weird. The line in this game has moved almost 5 points since it initially came out. On some books, I mean, I've still seen it at a 30 range in others. But what you're looking at here is either a bunch of people in Las Vegas who are really buying into what OU did against Rutgers in West Virginia, or someone who knows something that we don't know about this Ohio State team coming into tonight. I tend to think it's an overreaction to Ohio, but I think that will help keep Ohio State on alert. I think that will keep Ohio State being able to motivate its players in a way to say, hey, look what's happening. People think that this team can play with you. I don't think that's the case. I think you'll see Ohio State get after Ohio in a way tonight that is going to allow them to do some of that experimenting and figure out where these guys can fit in. Guys like Logan George, maybe that doesn't happen in the first quarter, maybe it doesn't happen in the second quarter, but you're going to see a lot of guys moving around as this game gets into the third quarter. So for Matt Patricia's defense, I don't think they want to show too much tonight. So it's really about guys going out and winning individual efforts, making sure that you don't allow Parker Navarro to beat you by getting out of the pocket. I think we'll see a very similar defensive game plan with the defensive line as we did against Texas, but we'll see how that comes. Game probably won't be as close at halftime, so I think you might see the Buckeyes take some more chances at that point.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what maybe some of those different wrinkles are, because as you mentioned, I don't feel like Matt Patricia is going to empty the encyclopedia of defense today. He shouldn't need to against Ohio, but if you are trying to add more wrinkles, he sprinkled them in even against Grambling with Caleb Downs up front, dropping into coverage. There is clearly more that Matt Patricia can get to with guys like Caleb Downs and Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, and he's been creative with CJ Hicks, and then the usage at 3 technique with Caden Curry or Bo Atkinson, and now maybe Logan George. How much of that do you need to get on game film? Not that you're trying to disguise that from anybody else, but just from your own benefit if you're Ohio State, to try and find what works and what you can emphasize moving forward, what's going to click, what you have to throw out. As Ryan Day has talked about, he says it's for the openers. You make a lot of assumptions and then you find out. Ohio State is still in that find out phase. Texas was not a period where they were going in there and playing a bunch of guys, rotating, or getting all that creative, certainly on the offensive side of football. But last week was that week 1 second take. Ohio represents something that's very similar in that regard. It is going to probably be a better evaluation for Ohio State, but how much of that experimentation is going to go on, I don't know.
Well, again, Ohio is a good team. They're a good MAC team. They are not on Ohio State's level. They are not on the level of anybody in the upper half of the Big Ten. And so this isn't one of those games where you should be. We've seen it in the past, and I don't know if it's because it's an Ohio team or whatever, but there's a different energy that's going to be in here tonight. It's not like we want to destroy this team. It's like let's just be respectful. I don't want to see Ohio State do that. I want to see them come out, put the pedal to the metal on the offensive side of the ball early. I think that means you let Julian Sayin get the offense open up. Let's do some play action, because I think Ohio is fully going to expect Ohio State to come in and try to establish the run early. I think that opens up the door for Julian Sayin to do some stuff down the field, because it's not like the Bobcats didn't hear all week the conversation about the run game. Can the Buckeyes establish that? Can the Buckeyes figure out James Peoples and C.J. Donaldson and Bo Jackson and the offensive line, and the messages from Austin Sareveld on a Wednesday night about we want to just run the ball and dominate up front? I think it's fun to say that stuff, but when it comes down to it, once the whistles blow and the game starts, then you should do the things that you do best. And so, to me, the best way you get to the opportunity to tinker, the opportunity to do some exploration and some imaginative stuff, is by coming out and blowing them out of the water in the first quarter. So I'd like to see that. But so for me, first key is just don't change who you are. Stay true to who you are, and then work on the other stuff.
I think on Tuesday, though, you were asking Ryan Day, and you've talked about this, if he's figured out what they are.
Yeah, but I don't know if he knows what they are, but I think from the outside looking in, this, and we said it earlier this week, this team is going to go as far as Julian Sayin and the receivers take them. So if you have those guys up front, let them lead the way and then figure out the rest. I think the worst thing Ohio State can do in an environment like this tonight, in a game like this, is let OU believe that they belong, because they don't. And if you give them too much respect or too much deference because you've seen what they have been able to do against 2 Power 4 opponents, then all of a sudden you're handicapping yourself. And I don't think that's in Ohio State's best interest.
Yeah. All right. Well, I love when Phil Collins hit that drum solo. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the thoughts out or not, but there's not a ton of actual pre-game keys this week for me, because it's as you mentioned, they don't belong on the same field in the same competitive realm as the Buckeyes. The Bobcats don't. That's not an insult to them. That's just the reality of where they play, who they recruit, the level that they're at. Ohio State is the number 1 team in the country, They beat Texas in here 2 weeks ago. They won a national championship 8 months ago. Like, all that stuff is obvious. Like, if Ohio State just needs, as you said, whether they know what their identity is, if they go play to the standard is the standard and filling that out, their own potential is going to be enough for them to dictate the terms of whatever they want to accomplish today. And again, I don't know what that is. I've thought throughout the week that is going to rely more on the running game and finding out what C.J. Donaldson and James Peoples are capable of, and opening up maybe some opportunities and windows for Bo Jackson to play. But you can pick anything you want from this game.
Yeah.
As long, it doesn't even matter to me. I'm curious what they want to work on, because what they do tonight against Ohio is going to tell me a lot for how they want to play against Washington in 2 weeks.
But it's also the mindset, like, even if you come out and you try to focus on establishing the run and trying to be physical up front, you can do that without being conservative. You can do that and still be aggressive.
Yeah.
You can do that and still be imaginative. You can still be creative. It doesn't mean just run in ISO, run in the middle of the defense over and over and over, which is what they did against Texas and what they did against Michigan. Like, if you want to establish your toughness and establish that you are going to run the ball, go ahead, but don't do that to your own detriment. Don't do that against your strengths. Let your running backs in, and with Bo Jackson and James Peoples and C.J. Donaldson, you've got big, fast backs. Like, Ohio's not going to be able to beat you to the edge. So you can still work on these things and open up the playbook at the same time. I don't think they have to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. We're going to find out for sure what Ohio State looks like for game number 3, final non-conference one on the slate.
Pre-con, non-con.
Pre-con, non-con, as Birm likes to call it. It's short, it's to the point. I think that's what's beautiful about it. Bobcats and Buckeyes, in-state matchup. The speakers are fired up. Again,
7 p.m.
Don't know how loud it comes through on the microphone,
Peacock.
but it is loud in here, and it's been loud outside the stadium as well. So whether you're down here watching on YouTube, listening on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get podcasts, whatever, however you're doing it, we appreciate you and hope you're ready for this one. 7 o'clock, prime time in the Horseshoe on Peacock. The only way to get it. Make sure that you're signed up and locked and loaded for that. We'll be talking to you afterwards with some snap judgments in the notebook. All of that on 97.1 The Fan, 10 TV Plus. He is Jeremy Birmingham. I am Austin Ward. Enjoy the game, folks. We'll see you afterwards.